happy to be doing this for y'all. So, our topic for today is advanced custom fields development for the end user. So, let's start off with the basics. What is advanced custom fields? Advanced custom fields is a WordPress plugin that acts as a GUI layer for custom fields. And let's break that down. GUI, for those of you who are less tech savvy, stands for graphical user interface, which is just a fancy way of saying it's a visual interface for the plugin as opposed to code or text. It allows for simplicity for the end user, which, as we will see, will be the theme and our focus, and we'll discuss more of that shortly. Custom fields are a native WordPress feature, but ACF enhances them with the GUI, which allows developers to quickly create custom field groups and add them to posts, pages, custom post types, widgets, and even global site pages. Normally, custom fields can only do pages and posts, and they are a key value pair. So our scope for today is we're going to stick to posts and pages and go down the more basic functionalities of advanced custom fields and focus on how to make it user-friendly for people who might be entering content on the back end or end user. So, why use ACF? ACF creates fields that are user-friendly and can be organized by tabs. You can put instructions to instruct the end user and move them along. And there's a bunch of other organizational options. You can, for example, there's a field we've got to repeater. You can decide whether to make it a table or a row. You can sort of customize it how you want, and use different conditionals to kind of help the flow of the end user. So like I said, ACF is not just limited to the key value based text fields. It has a wide array of different field types. For example, it has text areas, file uploads, images, WYSIWYG, date picker, Google Maps, repeaters, and the list goes on and on. And some of them we won't even get to today, some of them are beyond our scope, but we'll stick to the basics. So, I did a test run of this presentation to the company earlier, and they told me that I'm not funny at all. So basically, I've created a character to help along, bring some levity to this, to what can be a dense subject. So I would like to introduce you to my friend. His name is Bago, the Advanced Custom Fields Stock Photo Clown, and he looks like this. Yes. And Bago, what do you have for us today? Oh, wow, a bucket of sloths. Thank you. All right, anyway, so we're going to go into a brief demo to just give you an example of how to set up advanced custom fields. We're going to be creating a text field and a repeater field. So, basically, we have a basic WordPress theme that we set up here with absolutely no content in it. So, as you can see here, when you install the plugin, it will show up here. And our first step is going to be creating a field group, which is a group of fields, obviously. And we will show you what to do with that field group. So we're going to add a new one here. And we're going to name the field group. Let's call it WordPress demo. All right. And as you can see here, each field group has rules. So there's a wide variety of rules that you can use. For example, as you can see here, if the post type is equal to post, or a page, or if you have custom post types, show this field group in that post written in that page, whatever the rule describes it to be. So basically, if we said if post type is equal to post, or if post type is not equal to post, it will show up everywhere that is not a post, which we don't want to do. So we're going to do it the way that we most commonly do it at Ironpaper, which is we're going to make it equal to a page template and we're going to do it to our full width page template. So any page that uses this template is now going to have whatever fields we put into this field group. And we can also, some other options of the field group, you can decide where you want to go. So you can have it after the content box or above the title or on the side. And we're going to just switch it up to after the title. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create a field. And we can name this whatever we want. Let's just call it test text. And I'm going to, once I lose focus on this field or tab out of it or anything, you'll see that it automatically populates in the field name. So the field label here is just what you see on the back end of WordPress. It's just a user-friendly title for what your field is, as opposed to the field name, which is what we'll be using in the code. As you can see, it says single word, no spaces, underscores, and dashes allowed. So here you can select your field type, and text is automatically selected as the first one by default. We can put instructions here if we want. But for now, we're just going to leave the rest of this blank. So that's all done, and we're going to publish this. So now if we move over to our demo page, which as you can see in the template is the full width page that we specified in the rules, and I refresh, our text field now appears in the page. So we can go wherever we want into the text field. Cool. Let's save that. But that's not really going to do anything. So if we go back to our text page, you'll see it didn't really do anything. We entered in the content, but it's not being outputted. So we have to move over to the code now. And this is our template. So there's two most common ways of outputting your advanced custom fields code. First one is you're going to echo and then get field, and then we're going to in the parentheses in the quotation or apostrophe marks there, we're going to put in that title that I was telling you about before, the one with that's underscores one name. So we'll put that in there. Save it. And voila, there it is. So that's how you just output a simple text field. The other way, as opposed to echo, there is a shorthand for echo get field, and that's simply the field. So if we're going to save that, go back here, it would do the same thing. So that's the very basics of how advanced custom field works. Let's show you another field called repeater field, which we find really, really useful. So we're going to add another field to our field group, and we can call it test repeater field. And as you can see, automatically populates, so we don't have to do anything. In our list of fields, we're going to go all the way to the bottom to our repeater field. Now, repeater field does exactly what it sounds like. You can put in subfields within this field and have them repeat. So as you can see, once we change the field type, this subfield section appears here. And so we can also then decide a layout. I personally like to use block or row. So let's put it as block and add a subfield to the repeater. So let's call it, I don't know, this repeater text field, why not? And now automatically populates there. And we can put a default value there that will just appear automatically on the page when we load it. And just say, I am a test. Update that. Great. Let's see it here. Huzzah! So we can add a row. I'm a test. I'm a test. I'm a test. Differentiate the three of them. Great. And So basically, it's very similar to what we just did for the field, but we're going to get rid of this filler name here and replace it with test repeater field. So if test repeater field has rows and it exists, then do a loop of all the rows in that list and output a subfield, which we have named repeater test field. And if we save it, go back to this page, repeat. I'm a test 2, I'm a test 3. So that's the very basics of how advanced custom fields works. So, another field that people use often is image fields, and there's 3 different ways of outputting an image. The first one is through an image array, which we have an example here. Basically, you can store the image into a variable, and you can output different attributes of that image. So you can use the URL part of the array, or the alt. You can also use height, width, so on and so forth. So that's an output that people usually use if you want a little bit more nuance. If you want just straight up just the URL, really basic image, you can just do the same way that it's done with text. So you input an image into your page and just output it through the field. And then finally, you can do it through WordPress's image ID. This allows you to sort of efficiently load only the necessary image data, and that's how you do it there. So you get the field, and then you echo WP get attachment image, and then the size of the image. Another really useful field is flexible content. It's similar to repeater fields, but you don't have to repeat the same content. You can create an unlimited number of layouts which can be arranged differently in any order you choose, so you don't have to make a whole bunch of different templates. So this can eliminate the number of page templates, and you now have the power to create pre-built layouts, essentially. So that's always an option. Another really useful one is date picker field, and it's really helpful if you create event lists or calendars. We have, for example, we use this field a lot. We use it for a client named Art Students League and Explode. So, really fun aspects of certain fields are default values, which I showed you earlier during the demo. As you saw, when creating a field in a field group, you enter in the default value to the text box, and it automatically populates whenever you create that field on a page or a post or wherever the field group specifies. This can be really helpful for repeater fields, which I showed before, because if you're having a repeater field and by default you know that it's all going to be the same thing, instead of going in and having to hit repeat, and copy and paste or manually enter and stuff, it's automatically just there, just speeds things along. And it gives a sort of flow, because it lets the user know automatically what they're editing without having to even look at the title of whatever field post or field they're editing. And that's just an example of a WYSIWYG default field. We have a div here with an inline style of blue, and when they go view it on the page, it is blue text. And but images don't have default values. So basically, you just do this instead. You do an if statement where you get field, you check if it actually exists. If it doesn't exist, you can put inside the else statement your own default image, and that will just appear if no one enters in anything. Knock knock.
Who's that?
Knock knock. Doctor. Nerd joke. So consider to be a really, really fun feature of advanced custom fields is conditional logic. Conditional logic is used to check that specific conditions exist before showing or hiding a certain field on a page's or post backend. It can also be used as a standalone check to show the user certain elements on the front end. If that seems really heady, don't worry, we'll get to it shortly. And explain it with visuals. So there are 4 logic operators for conditionals. Checkboxes, select drop-downs, booleans, and radio buttons. So you select whichever one you might need in a certain instance. So basically, conditional logic helps remove any clutter on the page. Sometimes if the page has a lot of custom fields, it can become kind of messy and kind of hard to read. So conditional logic is an excellent organizational tool and allows for a cleaner, more intuitive UX. So just for an example of why you might need to use conditional logic, let's say you have a hero that's used throughout your website, and the hero comes in 3 different flavors. It's a image hero, or a text hero, or a video hero. You can have a choice field that is radio buttons where you select what flavor of hero it is, and then it will hide and display the other fields necessary to build that hero, depending on which one you select. So if you hit the radio button for image, it will come up with an image field, text, video, and so on and so forth. So, once you have your field group set up and you determine a field that you want to apply your conditional logic to, you can make a new field and select it from under the choices bar in the field type dropdown. For this example, I created a field called contains image and made it a checkbox. So in my field group, you would go in, create a new field, select checkbox, and then as you will see in this choices field here, you would enter in the different choices for your checkbox. So right here, we just add one choice that just says yes. So, I mean, you can also put in as many as you want. We just have one there for this example. And so now we'll create a different custom field that's an image field. And you'll see in this conditional logic field here, we now see a rule here that says contain image, which is that field that we just created. So you can then do a rule, contains image is equal to yes, then that means that the image will then appear. So for another example, we can take conditional logic even further by using code. By making a choice a standalone field with no dependencies, we can have other events happen that don't directly relate to our other field conditions. So, for example, if you have 3 different nav menus and you need to display a different menu to the user based on which page they're in, whether in home page, an internal page, or a landing page, you can create radio buttons with these choices for the user to select, which we see right here. And then, using these choices on our code, we can check which menu's field is equal to and display our navigation menus accordingly. So you would put the main menu in this if statement, internal, landing, and then a catch-all default. All right, so with that being said, we can also get really fancy and use what we've learned in the first segment of conditional logic and combine that with some code to produce an even more complex set of choices. For this example, we kept our menus field and added a login button checkbox. So, there. So we can then choose conditional logic for this field and display if this page is going to display the main navigation menu. When any other menu selected, this field disappears. So as you can see, we created our conditional logic here. if menus is equal to main menu, then the login button will show, and that's shown in action here. And then when selected on internal menu, you see it's gone. Same thing for if it's on a landing page. And what that looks like in terms of code would be this. You would just add in the aref into your main menu if statement. And since it only shows for on the page when you select the correct create button, it won't run into any errors, and it will always show up in that first if statement. Cool. So a few final points. All examples so far have been utilizing ACF in PHP template post files, but you can use it for CSS too. So let's say your client wants a certain color for a background, but they want the choice to maybe change that color down the line. There's a color picker field type that basically it has that color picker sort of gradient of colors you can pick from, or you can just enter in a hex value, and once you select it, you'll output that hex value. So as we can see here, you can either do it through a style tag in your template or post file, or you can do inline styles. Both would work. Both would output a text file, and you get your own background color. Do you have any nice final words at all for us today? That's nice. I'm glad you shared that with us. Anyway, so a few final points. A few of the fields mentioned earlier, repeater field, a field called OEmbed, which helps embed some video files and whatnot, are only available to ACF Pro users, which is the paid version of ACF, which we really can't recommend enough. It's a one-time price, and then you can use it on as many sites as you want. It's really, it makes a difference. ACF Pro is also faster, and one of the functionalities that makes it faster is a folder called ACF JSON folder, which it automatically puts into your theme's root directory. This stores JSON files that are saved in the folder every time that a custom field is created, edited, or deleted. This allows for quicker response time, because instead of going into the database every single time ACF needs to pull in some data, you can just look into the JSON file, and it's a lot quicker. It also makes site migration easier, because you can easily export and import JSON files between sites. And you can even set a base JSON file for default fields and field groups if you want to include, if you know you want to include them in your next site, instead of manually adding them back in one by one. So what does this all add up to? Advanced custom fields is ideal for a highly customizable, sophisticated WordPress site, while creating an easy-to-use, intuitive user interface for end users who want to input content and may not be necessarily familiar with code. So we hope you've learned some new tricks, and we gave you some new ideas to use on your next or current WordPress site. We've gone over different field types, conditional logics, and coding demos, how to get set up. There's also so much that we haven't covered, and so much to learn, and different tools to use within advanced custom fields. So we highly recommend looking up more in the documentation, or going through any of these tutorials here, any of these helpful resources. And yeah, so that concludes our presentation for today. I believe we have time for questions, so.
Obvious first question.
Yeah.
Slides will be available.
Yeah, pretty good. Yes.
Yeah, we'll post one to Meetup, and when I post the video, we'll add it.
Great. Yeah.
Would you recommend another custom post plugin?
I'm sorry?
Would you recommend another custom post plugin? That's a plugin. ACF Pro? Is there another one that you would recommend?
That I would recommend. to be honest, this is like the #1 that I use. Yeah. I'm sure there are others out there, but this is what we use for our purposes. Yeah. So a question. First. Oh, we're good.
Well, there's a plugin that came out recently. It's called ACF Code, and what it will do is on any field page, at the bottom of the page, it will show you the code that you have to put in your PHP template. Okay. And you're like, wait,
Yes, sir. Awesome. That's good to know.
What's it called? ACF Theme Code.
Theme code. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. We'll look into that. Yeah.
You might have mentioned at the beginning that it works with custom post types as well.
Yes. Yes. And also, I forgot to mention, there's no dependencies at all. So you can literally just have this as like one of the only plugins that we have.
If I already have custom post types with a bunch of custom fields that I've already created, can I plug this on top of the already created custom post fields by just referring to the same names, and it will just nicely organize everything?
Yes. So, yes. Something that I forgot to mention before is that if you, let's say you have a field, you have like a text field, and you go into a page and you edit that text field and you save that page. And then you want to edit the default value of that field later. If you edit that default value, it won't affect what's already on the page. Because that would just be pandemonium. Anytime you would edit a field, it would just screw it up. So apropos of nothing, that just reminded me. But yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Let me see. I'm used to databases a little bit than WordPress. So when you say repeater field, you showed us using an example of 3 fields. And say we were doing a grocery list, does that mean we could only put in 3 items, or could we just repeat infinitely until we have our whole list?
You could repeat infinitely. You can also set like minimum and maximum rows. So you can do that.
Where did you say the field values are stored? Where are the JSON files?
I'm sorry?
The JSON files that you said,
He said at the root.
at the root?
In the root of the theme. Yeah. Yes.
How does it save data? My understanding is it saves 2 database rows per field. Is that correct?
I think that's correct. Yeah.
So how do you do like meta queries and more advanced queries on this type of data if it's not storing it in the WordPress code?
I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong about this, but I think it stores it in the database and in JSON files if you have Pro, and it just does it in only database if it's not Pro. Yes.
The code that you were editing, was that code within the theme? The code
Yes.
that you- okay.
Yeah, that was the page count.
Okay.
I
Yes.
cannot see a JSON file over here in my
I'm sorry.
I cannot see a JSON file over here.
It should be a folder that says ACF JSON. Do you have the Pro version?
I have
You do. Oh.
need to activate something in the backend?
It just it appears there automatically for us. Yeah.
Is it only for you?
Really?
That's what it's.
You know what it is? We have a bare bones basic WordPress theme that we use. No. So yes, sorry everyone. We have to create the folder first, but then it will populate for you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm very confident that all of it is in the database. I just want to say first options they all exist in the database. In fact, if you wanted to, you could do standard WordPress functions to get everything in that ACF functions have, but it's quicker obviously to do ACF functions.
Right. Okay, great. Very good. Yes.
You showed interaction for the end user always from the back end. Is there a way that you can easily use this on the front end as well with a themed kind of environment?
No, I don't think there's a way to do that.
So there are ACF shortcuts.
Yeah,
You
there are-
could put them in your page. You could
Okay.
just embed fields in your page using the shortcuts.
Okay. I'm learning stuff today as well.
There's some sort of limited publishing.
Are they?
You sort of have to develop your own.
Okay. Cool.
So you need to create a folder called ACF JSON and then it will store.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I thought that it does it automatically.
I might have said that. It was a mistake.
Painful.
You need to create it.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Any other questions?
You did say, yeah.
Yes.
If you do, assuming that there is a free version and there's a pro version. So let's say you start out with the free version, which is not an error. And the material that you create there, when you buy the pro, it will automatically transfer to no problem.
Yes. Yeah. So if you start with the free version and then you decide to upgrade to the pro version, all the stuff that you've already done will still be there, and then you'll also get all the additional features of the pro version. Good question. Yes.
I was wondering if you knew pick list or what you thought, like the different strengths and weaknesses of doing advanced custom fields.
I personally haven't used a pick list. From what I've heard is it's pick list is a little it's more code based, more code based, and yeah. But to be completely honest, I haven't used it. So, yeah, I'm not a good reliable source of the differences. Yes.
I mean, there was a project where we had too much of custom fields and then we ran into this error of execution timeout. So do you think that adding too much of advanced custom fields in the backend can actually slow down the entire thing? What's your view on that?
We personally haven't run into that problem.
Because if you have too many values, like repeater values, if you don't set the maximum, and there are like more than 30 values, the data gets saved every time into the database.
Right.
So what is the solution for that?
Could you repeat that, please?
So large amounts of custom fields might slow down the site. So he's asking preventative measures for that or ways to work around it. It's on a situation dependent basis. Setting maximums, I guess, for
So that it gives the whole motive of using advanced custom fields if you set the maximum. Because if my client doesn't want to limit to it, then what shall we do in such a case? Because that issue actually happened with me and I lost a client.
What did you do?
I was not even, I tried to do like I set the execution timeout to infinite, but then it will just, like the page will just die out after some time.
So you have control over the server?
Oh yeah, I have.
You can set your memory on a per page
Yeah, I
basis.
tried to
Right.
set memory, the execution timeout and it never.
And you're using Apache?
Yeah, I did save a PHP.ini file.
So if you set the max fields obviously higher, but then you set the memory for that specific page higher, or if it's in WordPress, so just set the site-wide in PHP, the memory to like a lot more. If they have enough memory on their server, you don't want
I
it
think it
to.
was basically my server issue.
Any other questions? Going once? Twice? All right.